Hey guys, Mark Holmes here, and as always, I appreciate you guys watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know this literally does not work. I've got a bit of a problem. This is, of course, my day job channel, and I love doing my woodworking. I love doing woodworking. I've been doing woodworking since I was a little kid, and my dad had a Shopsmith Mark II that was in what we had at that time. We called it the meat house. My parents' house was built right after the Civil War, and we had it was basically a house that they smoked meat in. It was built during Reconstruction. There used to be barbed wire in the tree where the cows would go out to the fields, and then we had, of course, another old garage. The thing I really wish we tore down the meat house, and it was like cedar shakes on the outside of it, and then it was white oak was actually the frame members for it. And at the time, my parents cut up a lot of the wood to use for tomato steaks or kindling for the fire and stuff, because it was just old wood. Nobody cared about old wood back then. That was 40 some years ago. Well, I tell you what, I wish I had that old white oak wood because of the patina that it had and the age, and because it was used for smoking. Anyway, I digress. I have been doing a lot of different pieces, more craftsy pieces. You guys have seen, of course, the Joe Bardies and the different racks that I make for the man caves. And I've had people that ask me for special pieces. Now, I've always been a cabinet maker and doing woodworking and building things that are basic, in essence, a box, where a table saw and a bandsaw and a joiner are the things that you need. Well, in the same way, I remember when cordless drills came out and nail guns. I was that old timer that believed you needed to use a hammer and nails to get the job done. What is this hose and everything else? I guess it was kind of like John Henry versus the steam engine. But I've since learned over the years that a lot of the new tools are definitely a lot nicer. So enter Joseph Heatherly. Joseph, who's been a big help to my other channel and like a brother to me. He wants me to make a couple of pieces that I don't really have the capacity to do currently as I am set up. One of which is he wants a big butcher block like this, but what he wants me to do with it is he wants me to carve in it a star, so it's inlaid in it. And I can do that if I end up getting the right piece of equipment, a CNC machine, or if I end up making a template and using the router, both of which would work. But ultimately, that CNC machine would be the thing to get, because that will enable me to basically use a computer getting into the 21st century and be able to do a lot of custom pieces. I've had people that have said, hey, can you make me a sign, or can you engrave my name into my Joe Bardi? And I just don't do that. So, enter me on the fence of trying to get a CNC machine. I've looked at a couple of different ones. I thought about just trying to get one just to get me by. I looked at saying, you know what, for now, I'll just get like, if you go on Amazon, they have a FoxAlien CNC machine, which is, it's a bench top, it's a small one. The cutting area is 15 by 15. Well, to get their best one, it's about $1,000, which is still a good chunk of change. It's still a lot of money. to put onto a machine that's only going to be able to do. I could take a piece like this and put into it, and I could carve out a star or whatever and then fill it in with the epoxy. I could do small stuff like that. So I started thinking in my mind, one of the things I realized many, many years ago was, if you're just buying a piece of equipment to get you by and you can't really buy what you need, you're better off waiting. Behind me I have a 3 horsepower shaper that I use for making cabinet doors. I've probably made 1,000 cabinet doors in it, and I've had that piece of equipment for 16, 17 years. It's $3,000. And $3,000 16, 17 years ago was a lot of money. But in retrospect, I had first bought a 1 horsepower one, which wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. But what I realized, to use the bigger bits and to really be able to make bigger pieces with it, it wasn't big enough to do what I needed it to do. And so I had to buy another one. So I still have that one. I still have it. But it is sitting in a garage and hasn't been used in about 15 years. So I learned, if you can't get what you really need, don't just buy something to say I got one. So buying the one from Amazon definitely was a no-go. So then I've been looking for over a year. I've been thinking about doing this. I was looking at Inventable. Inventables is a company that's actually in Chicago, American company, and they build the X-carve. X-carve, they have 3 different kinds. They have the X-carve, which is their regular one, which has a 30 by 30 bed, so I could do bigger stuff with it. It uses a Makita router to do the cuts, and you can use 1/8" bits on it. It's clearly a lot better than the FoxAlien one. And I started thinking about that one. Okay, maybe I was thinking maybe that might not be a bad trick. And so I started looking at them, because that is now going from $1,000 to $2,500. And then I started looking at some of the ads, or excuse me, the videos on it. You have to put it together, and they say it's a 16-hour process. The guy who I was watching doing videos on it said it took him about 25 hours. When I looked at it, it literally looked like you're the factory assembling it, and you're blind. So I've been on the fence on getting that. $2,500 is a lot of money. But then I started looking, because it's after Christmas, and of course this is the time of year where it's hard to do business. They have the X Pro. The X Pro is a bigger machine. Instead of it being a 30 by 30 bed, they have 2 sizes, which are 2 by 4, where it's open in the back, where you can literally, if you have an end table and a feed table, you can do full sheets of plywood. So instead of just being able to cut a piece like this, I could take actually a full-size piece of plywood and put it in there, have it cut out, let's say, pieces for cabinets. Or for furniture, I could have it cut out the pieces for furniture that could be flat boxed and assembled elsewhere. If I want to have it cut out the pieces for the Joe Bardies and have it engraved, it could. If I wanted to have, like somebody actually said that they have a wedding chapel in Vegas, and they'd like me to do a sign for it, and maybe do something special for the married couples, I could actually take a wedding photo and have the machine etch out and engrave exactly that and put the date in. it's only limited by the mind. And as I'm looking at that piece of equipment, the big one is $2,000 off. The smaller one is $1,500 off. And they finance. And they have 0% financing. So now, A, I have to figure out, do I have enough space to put the 2x4 unit in here? And B, do I want to put that much money into the machine? And one way or the other, you'll find out on this channel what happens, because whatever I do, I'm going to be doing videos on it from beginning to end. So I'm going from being a guy who first hung drywall when I was about 12 years old with a hammer and nail, and framing up a house with a hammer and nails, to have gone through to pneumatic tools, to now going through 60-volt cordless everything. I've got cordless miter saws that are DeWalt. I've got a cordless table saw over there. In fact, here's how it's insane. The table saw I have right here, I bought as a Craftsman table saw. I bought that, 30 years ago. Still running. Mainly I use that with the dado head on it. And I hate switching back and forth with the dado head because I'm cutting so many pieces for these Joe Bardis. So I bought a portable DeWalt cordless table saw. I thought about just getting the plug-in one. Plug-in one was $299. Well, for $100 more, you get the 60-volt cordless one, and you get the battery. Well, the battery costs $180. So from my standpoint, they're almost throwing in the table saw for free. And I've got so many tools that I use with the cordless batteries, it was a no-brainer. So that table saw, it uses a thin NARF blade. So all these pieces of hardwood that I have right here, I just pop that table saw up top here. If I just need to zip a few boards, boom. And then I don't have to change the dado head over here that's set up to do the other pieces. And so that's where you look at when you're buying tools, the investment, will it pay off in the long run? So when I say I spent $3,000 for that shaper, over the course of the last 17 years, it's more than paid for itself with the ease of duty. And that's the way I have to look at with this X-carver. It'll enable me to do things that I've never even dreamed about being able to do before. And so now I've got some figuring to do which one to get. I'll let you know. Tomorrow I actually have a online demonstration from them tomorrow morning. So maybe we'll follow along with that. In the meantime, I got some more work to do. Hope you're having a great day.